What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 51 of VegCast with John Egger. I just want to ask you real quick before we start, if you could like and subscribe on any platform you're listening on now or any of the other platforms, that'd be a great way to get new episodes, and that would really help us out. We'd appreciate that. But no further ado, or however you're supposed to say that, my good friend, my new friend, guest here, Jacob Mauriello. Jacob, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I wanted to, I went to middle school and high school with your cousin Biagio, and he's the one who reached out to me about you. Told me that you're interested. That you're a radio host at your college. That you've done some stand-up comedy. And like as he was listing these things off, I'm just thinking like those are all my similar interests. Like I don't have a ton of experience in comedy, but I did do stand-up once, and like I'm a host on like my college radio station. So first thing I really wanted to talk to you about is comedy. So like how many times have you done comedy?
I did comedy maybe 10 times. I didn't have that experience.
I got you. That's still way better. I've only been on stage once, so like that's still a good handful of times to like feel out, being new and stuff.
You know what? I started comedy. It's funny. I like comedy, but I didn't want to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And down the street from my house is a restaurant for people who we go there and we give gifts to them.
Okay, cool.
We do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
One year, we did something. My cousin did karaoke. I did stand up, so I had to write,
cool.
materials out.
Yeah, yeah.
And after that, I was like, okay, I want to get into this. I like comedy.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like I remember the first time, because I actually took a class at my school. It was called Writing Comedy. It was a brand new class, and people were doing like some people like we were kind of writing sketches in there, writing a little bit of everything. But a lot of people were writing stand-up sets too. So like for my final project, I wrote like a 5-minute stand-up set, and it just so happened that they were having a show at my school, and it was like when I went up there, it was like the most, like before going up there, it was like the most nerve-wracking thing. And then as soon as I got up there and I said like my first punchline and I heard people actually laugh at it, like even if it wasn't a huge laugh, just to hear some people laugh, I was like, I love that feeling. Like I want to chase that feeling. You know what I mean?
Exactly. My teacher, I took a comedy class at my college, and he said after you get on stage the first time, you have that high. You want to just get on stage every single day. And I've been writing materials.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, I stopped for a while because I wanted to pursue the radio, but we'll get into that at a later time. But I actually have a speech impediment.
Okay,
and, so I actually did a comedy skit at this stuttering convention.
Okay.
So I did
cool.
I did a skit on stage in front of 500 people, or it was nerve-wracking, and that was more people than and then a restaurant, then because I did stand-up at my aunt's. Yeah, I did stand-up at my aunt's restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and it was nerve-wracking, but I love comedy because the state of it is just unique.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like singers, they can take other singers, songs.
Yeah.
But in comedy, you can't do that.
It all comes down. It like everything that the comedian produces comes down to them and nobody else. Like, sure, there's probably people in the background like helping people out or writing jokes for certain people, but like you can't take, just like you said, like a singer could cover somebody else's song and kind of pass it off as like their own content, but like a comedian can't take an hour set, or like even if it's 5 minutes of an hour set, and pawn it off as their own if it's somebody else's, because like you'll get called out for it. That's like a huge part of comedy too, is that you find joke thieves at the top sometimes, and people usually call them out, you know?
It might, and I love, comedy because, you can have the same topic,
Hmm.
but it's a different um,
Yeah,
story.
I know what you mean. Yeah, and it comes
So
down to the person too, because like, say those two people are talking about the same topic, it's like you never know like the endless amount of possibilities that like two people's brains could take something, and it's almost like two people say they're talking about, I don't know, um, just for example, say they're talking about like gun reform or like dolphins or literally anything. Like you could take two people, two comedians, and tell them to write 5 minutes about that, and it could go two completely different ways. And like I think that
exactly,
really,
yeah.
yeah, it definitely shows that like comedy comes down to that one person, and like nobody else really in entertainment has that, like you said, with like music and things like that. But
If you, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say it's a shame right now that with the state of the nation and COVID-19, that like, comedy has been basically gone since March, and people are wondering because apparently they've been starting to reopen things, like retail is opening back up. I've been hearing in different states. Like apparently they're trying to start scheduling sports again, but apparently like live shows and like sports and live shows and things like that are at the very end of like the opening spectrum. And I understand that. It's just a shame because like so many, like comedy has been gone for like about 3 months, so you actually, I mean, you said that you kind of weren't writing as much material, but you picked a good time, man, because like nobody can get on stage right now. So like I mean, I'm just hoping, I've only done it once before, but I'm hoping once everything like comes back, like it'll be easy to get to clubs, and like I'm just trying to get on stage as much as I can.
Yeah, and if we can um, take a moment to explain to people what comedy is, because if they want to get into it,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's comedy is nerve wracking, and when you get on stage, guys, it's gonna be uh, a really a unique feeling, and
Yeah,
you want to get back on. And um, just remember, you got to know the audience. If you don't know the audience,
absolutely.
your materials might work on this audience and some won't.
Yeah.
It depends on the audience.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I remember when I did the show that I did personally, it was a college show, and I mean, I didn't want to like pertain too much to like a certain crowd or anything, because like they were judging it, and like they had judges there, but I wasn't really thinking of it as so much a competition. I was just thinking like those judges are up there, screw those people. I'd rather focus on the people that are actually like watching me and just see if I can get laughs. And like I mean, I saw some kids go up there in like the middle of the lineup that were like, literally it was like they were just doing like sex and like blowjob jokes, literally like back to back to back to back, like four or five people. And I'm like, sure, like
Yep.
you can get like cheap little laughs like that, but like you're not thinking about your audience. You know what I mean? Like maybe that stuff works and like at like 1 in the morning in like some like dingy club or something, but it's like you can't go up in front of a group of like really varied people and just start throwing out like the dirtiest like shock type of jokes.
And I've had experience with that too, because when I was working at my aunt's restaurant, I I watched stand up. There was this guy who was the host of the stand up, and his friend I
Hmm.
was watching, and it was talking about you know inappropriate
Yeah,
conversation. And you know while people are eating, they don't feel like hearing that,
yeah, they don't even
or
want to.
or maybe other times. I have no idea. you
No,
know?
you're right. And the thing is that when people are, you have to like, that's a really good point about being mindful about your audience, because like when people are eating, they might not even want to hear stand-up comedy, period. Like if they didn't come to see, it's kind of like how people talk about bar shows and stuff like that. Like if they didn't come to see you, you talking to them is already annoying them. So it's like you have to be extra mindful of your audience and like try to use material that you think will kind of get them on your side and get them to start paying attention to you, you know? Because like if you just go out there, it's like somebody say, imagine somebody tries to take their wife or like their family out for like a nice dinner at like a nice restaurant, and then a comedian goes up there and starts talking about like you know just like inappropriate stuff. That's obviously gonna, you know, they don't even want to hear you talk anyway, even if your stuff is good, you know. So I think like with those, I mean, I don't have experience in it, but like with those shows it seems like you have to like you have to get people, since they're not necessarily coming to watch comedy, you have to kind of like be mindful enough to get them on your side where they actually pay attention to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's for me, I was the only person um out of that lineup
Yeah,
that had actual good materials. It's not great because I started out, and but it
but
was
it
really
was
funny,
written.
you know.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
difference, man.
and
Like,
it was more unique because people are like, okay, this kid is different than the other people that we heard like a second ago, you know.
yeah, I know what
So
you mean.
it's, but if I've learned, if you see something in the crowd and you don't acknowledge that,
Oh yeah,
okay,
you've
something, you gotta like, if someone is like heckler, you know, it's, you gotta
yeah,
acknowledge that, you
you
know.
gotta
And
yeah,
yeah,
you gotta
and
kind of
so
like nip
I've,
it in the bud right away.
yeah, and I've had some not moments, but my teacher said, "Oh yeah, say this stuff
Yeah,
when a heckler is talking to you." But you know, it's just go up there and just say your material, but you got to have good materials first. You know, write it
yeah,
out first,
absolutely.
and then let a supervisor, like your parents, look it over, or email your former teacher and say, "Hey, you know, I have
Yeah,
this. Can you check it over?"
or even
You know, so it's,
like what like one thing I noticed is that you can even try stuff out for like your friends or like a few people, you know what I mean? Like I remember when I first did my show, I wrote a set and then I performed it in front of my, I mean, I was doing a workshop for a class, so I performed it in front of my class, and I could tell some things worked, but they gave me pointers, which was cool. And then like the day before the show, I went up in front of them with my new set, and this was maybe about 10 people, and performed it, and I could tell it was like a little tighter. And when I went up on stage, it was like those times where they laughed, that like those punchline moments, like I could hear the laughs on the same moments, and that was like really helpful just to be able to like get a second opinion, you know, and like show it to some people.
yeah, you know. And I want to know when it comes back, when comedy comes back, and people
Yeah,
can go to shows. I want to know how comedy clubs and the comedy industry will change because of the whole George Floyd incident. You
oh
know,
yeah, absolutely.
so I want to know how they're going to change and teach upcoming comedians how to say stuff, you know, and not, you know,
Yeah, I know what
and
you mean. There's a difference between like, because so many like, it's hard nowadays with like seeing all this cruel stuff going on, and like you're seeing like legitimate like, you know, like racial injustice in the streets, and like just like all these sad things that are going on. Like the point of the comedian has always been through that, to poke fun at that and like poke fun at suffering. That way we can laugh about our own suffering and feel a little, you know, like feel a little better about it, you know. And it's like it's hard because you want to take these topics and you want to find ways to like find funny in them, you know, but it's like you don't want to you don't want to like say the wrong thing, or you don't want to be you don't want to just be making jokes that are like just straight hateful, and not even for the sense that they're hateful, but because like chances are if your joke is just straight about like hating on somebody or straight about something like that, it's not funny, you know? And it's like about like you said, like
Exactly.
being able to talk about those things without without just making it cheap or like making it. That's how I feel about a lot of the real like I have no problem with dirty comedy. You know, like I mean, if people watch this show, I kind of have like a sailor's mouth myself. You know, but you have to you have to relate it to something to like make it funny. Like if you just go straight for like weird like shock humor or something like that, it's like it could be like it could divide your audience, which is never good, you know, because you want them all on your side. And like it could just take it a wrong way, you know. And I mean, just being honest, as two like white dudes, if we're gonna go up there and do comedy, like even if we're going to be edgy about certain things and not care about certain things we say that might make people upset, like we still have to be mindful enough to know like if you try to make a joke about something like that, like if you try to make a joke about something that chances are you shouldn't, probably you should just not do it anyway, you know.
Yeah, because if your gut is saying, telling you, "Hey, I think it's not good to say it," don't say it. Like you said, it's um, comedy. I've watched professionals. Tom Segura.
Yeah, he's one of my
Um,
favorites.
yeah, I like Chris D'Elia. I like
Hmm.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and some of the things they say, are funny, but it's some people in the crowd might think, okay, yeah, yeah, why is he saying that? Why is he?
yeah,
But
yeah,
but you gotta have the right moment,
yeah,
and right moment to say it. And honestly, most professional comedians are going to acknowledge this incident and on their podcasts, you know, and
yeah,
they are allowed to say it on their podcast, but they can't say it on stage. I don't.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
my,
And it
you know,
depends, it also depends what they're saying too. And I think guys like the guys you just brought up, like Tom Segura, Chris D'Elia, Theo Vaughn is another really good one, like Joey Diaz, dudes like that. They're gonna bring up sensitive topics like that, you know, whether it has to do with race or religion, like sexuality, things like that. Like they're gonna bring up sensitive topics, but they are the examples of how it's done right, because they find funny in something where like it's not really it's not really like a hateful message, you know. Like Tom Segura is an example, like when he had the joke about Louisiana, like sure he was ripping
yeah,
on Louisiana, but you could tell that like he's he's up there doing his performance where like he's showing the crowd that like he's joking, you know. Like you have to have some type of like body language or the things you say where like you can't just like say something like I think, you know, like all people from Texas are stupid or something, like, and like just like make it hateful. It's like you have to like word it in a way where you can tell that like it's like you're making jokes about it, you know. But I think those guys are like experts at I heard somewhere along, I forget if it was on a podcast or something, that the the easiest way to change somebody's mind is make them laugh at something, you know. So like when those
yeah,
guys can like
it's
oh, you can go ahead if you were gonna talk. I do this all the time on the Zoom podcast. Like I've been doing this with like previous people where like we'll both talk at the same time. Like my one friend Manny, I did it with him, and 3 times we were like, and you know,
oh no, I was agreeing with what you're saying, but um, just be when you're a comedian, just test it out on family members. It's even professionals. Even though they are professionals and they are getting paid lots of money, you
yeah,
know, you shouldn't be saying those topics. But it's the way it is. It's I want to know if they're going to change something.
yeah. It's
In the near
strange.
future.
Like the past, this has been this even though comedy has been thriving over the past couple of years or so, like this has been like a weird time for comedy with all like the PC culture that's emerged over the past 5 to 10 years, and like comedians being worried about getting flagged for the things they say. But I think it just comes down to like I think it just comes down to joking and just being good at it, you know? Because if you're bad at crafting jokes, and you try talking about sensitive subjects, and you try getting edgy, chances are
Right.
you're just gonna say something blunt that is gonna like bother a lot of people. And I still think that like those people should have the right to say that. And I don't think that we should straight just be canceling comedians for jokes that they're making on stage, because even if they say a certain thing, you have to like understand with a comedian that like there is a possibility that they don't believe zero of like they don't believe any of the things they say on stage, or like it could be an act, you know? Like, see, I feel like I don't think people should hold comedians accountable for things they've said in their act, considering considering, like people have hours and hours of material over years, and like you could slip in a joke for like a minute, and it's like somebody could pull that moment back from like 10 years ago, and now it's like you don't have a career anymore, you know? Like I feel like e- even if you say some really messed up shit, or just like some messed up whatever, like acknowledge it, uh like be honest about it. If you feel the need to apologize, and just keep it moving. But it's like we especially recently, we live in such a cancel culture where like you could say the wrong thing, or like do the wrong, not even the wrong thing, but the wrong thing in someone's eyes, you know? And it's like they're trying to like get you get all your stuff taken off. And comedians, as it is, like comedians live so poor for so long until they really make it. So like to be like kind of getting closer to that break, and then just like have that taken from you, has got to really suck.
Yeah, and I think the perfect way to start off as a comedian is, taking class at your college and building up and go to open mics,
Yeah,
and if you're not performing that night, just go there, just watch the comedian and just take down notes and
yeah,
learn from their experience. And if they do something bad, on stage, don't do that. And the safest way is, if you want to be a successful comedian, you should go on shows like America's Got Talent, where they are careful with um,
yeah,
com- comedy. They are a friendly place to be.
yeah, man. And it's like everyone always talks about, like everyone has different opinions on clean comedy, and I feel like no matter, even if you're like the dirtiest comic out there, like everybody acknowledges that clean comedy takes like you have to take time, and like you have to have good material to pull off clean comedy. So like I think like when you see dudes like that go on like America's Got Talent, and they have like clean material, and like they can do well, it's like it's really impressive to see somebody actually put that together, because we're so close. Like sometimes we say curse words not even for the emphasis of the curse word, but because it just fills the syllable. Because that's what a lot of people who aren't into comedy don't realize, that like it's just as much
Yeah,
about your timing and about when you say something. So that extra syllable, like that, fucking this or whatever, like that might help you get that extra laugh. But like I guess it comes down to your own personal self, whether you feel like it's worth it or not. Because some people think, you know what, I'll leave it in my act all I want, because like it gets a laugh. What's the big deal? And some people feel differently about it, you know?
yeah, and you got to be careful with that too, because I've seen comedians where they say the that word every single time, and it's like, okay, this is not even funny. But
Yeah,
it's, you got to have a perfect moment to say that, and the right moment, and you got to have right timing, and you got to have great delivery. Because if you
yeah,
don't have
absolutely.
those, and if you don't have those two things, you wouldn't have great material. But you got to knock down those two
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's it, it comes down to, and there's a class too where they can teach you how to say, the higher up, comedy. You can say the curse word. You can say
Yeah, yeah,
it's the right moment, and listen, I don't mind people cursing, but if they say it in every sentence, it's
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, dude,
yeah.
what's your play here? You know, you actually, I wanted to bring this up because I was looking around your Instagram a little bit when I first got in contact with you, and you had a great opening joke in one of your sets. You said because you were reflecting about like your speech impediment. You said I have a speech impediment, so I only have about like 3 minutes of actual jokes, but it takes me like 45 minutes to get them out, and that killed the room. That
Yeah.
was so. When I heard that, I was like, that's so fucking funny, man. Like you should. I mean, sure, you always want to come up with new stuff, but keep that joke in your opening, you know? That's a great
Listen,
way
two
to get.
things. Yeah, thank you. Two things I want to say, and you can write out materials, but
Yeah.
you gotta keep the same joke because some crowds it doesn't work, but some other crowds it will. And like I
Yeah.
said earlier on this podcast, it's um you gotta you know write out material first, and if it's funny, use it every time, and
Yeah.
don't make don't make a new materials. You can write down topics, but don't write it out until that joke breaks.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So
Like hold on to it until you really if you have to let go of it, you'll know when it's time. But I was gonna say, I think that opening joke for you is great in your case because like I mean, if we're just being honest, like if you have a speech impediment and you're a stand-up comedian, you're gonna have to address that, you know, because if you don't talk about that and you just
right,
you let the set go, people will probably be like, what's going on here? But like for you, that was the smart like that when I saw that video, I was like, all right, that was definitely the smart play because you went up there and literally it was the first thing you addressed and it was a funny joke and it got people on your side and then you just kept building from there, you know?
yeah, because it's you if you have a disability, and people and it's a mental issue or physically, you
Hmm.
got to address it. You
Yeah.
got to address it up front. Hey, it was uncomfortable to you, just say it because people are wondering, hey, is this part of the act or what is this guy's deal?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's you got to address it. That's what.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
So
it's kind of like it's kind of like the pure kind of like origin of comedy if you think about it because everybody who gets into stand up nobody who gets into stand up comedy is just like oh like I'm you know like no like everybody pokes fun at themselves, you know what I mean, and like whether it's like a disability like a physical or mental disability or just an insecurity, you know, like I'm able bodied and like I don't technically think I have any disabilities, but like I might feel like a certain way about myself this way or like I might feel insecure about this thing or this thing or that thing, but I know like to like I got to bring that on stage, you know? So like cuz like when you're a comedian and like you're you're speaking about yourself, it's like you can't just like if comedians went up there and were like, "Oh, I'm so awesome. I'm great at this." Everybody would be like, "That guy's a douchebag." You know? Like it's like
Right.
people can really appreciate comics who are just genuine, like genuinely themselves, you know? And I think you definitely have like a good angle with that. And I think like just from the few videos I watch, I think you definitely have like a smart way of going about your comedy.
Yeah. You know, my I'm gonna tell you about my materials, but basically my it revolves around my family members,
Yeah.
my speech impediment, and what I see that is not normal to me,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And and if you and you gotta write down materials that you feel, hey, this annoys me, this
Yeah.
makes me mad, and the first time I started out, my teacher said, hey, write out a sentence and add the word weird, scary, all that, and just like take those words out and when you get good, and
Yeah.
I didn't use those words because to me it felt like I was more better. I was because it's my personality,
Yeah.
it's the way I was, and those were. those words worked on other comedians that I went to school with, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's and when you take a class, sometimes it's on your bucket list, and you don't necessarily want to do it, but you're like, hey, I'm just gonna try it out.
Yeah.
But but for me, I want to go back to comedy,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's but I had to take a step back and say, hey, what am I gonna do with my life? And
Yeah.
you know, hey, comedy is a huge part of my life. I'm not gonna stop it completely. It's on pause right now, so it's
Yeah. I mean, you honestly,
so
you don't really have a choice, you know, because places are shut down. Nobody, even the best professionals right now, none of them have been on stage in 3 months, you know. And I think for people who are like kind of young and up and coming, like myself and yourself, I think this will kind of be almost like if we do things the right way, I think this will be um an easy opportunity to, like, not easy, but it'll be like a good opportunity to shoot up in comedy, because everybody, I feel like a lot of people are going to start kind of on the same playing field, you know, since nobody's been on, even the people who are on stage every night up until March, nobody's been on stage in like 3 months. So everybody's going to be rusty when they go back, you know? And like
yeah,
people like
and
me and you, like we don't have a
right,
ton of experience as it is. So it's like, maybe in a sense, it'll help us kind of like level the playing field a bit and just be able to work from there.
yeah, and I've been trying to go to the comedy clubs in Philly, Helium, and
Yeah.
that sports comedy club. I forgot what it's called, but I didn't have anybody to go with, and it's like,
Yeah,
hey,
man.
it's I'm trying to put myself out there, and I didn't want to go by myself
Yeah, I
to
know
a
what you
comedy
mean.
club because
It's just a
it's the way
lot.
it
It's
is.
just, yeah, it's just a lot at once. But yo, I was gonna say, my one buddy Chris, he lives around here. He's also kind of like an open micer. I know he took a class at the Philly Improv. He told me last June he took like an 8 week class at the Philly Improv, got together a set, did it there, at like an open mic. So like I think that's like another club that does open mics around Philly. But I was gonna say, like, if you ever wanted to like go together and like try to hit up open mics, I would
Yeah, man.
totally be down for that.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm definitely down. Last time I did comedy was, yeah, whatever I put on my Instagram. That was
Yeah,
the last time I stopped. But I kept on writing. I put down stuff. I never stopped. But I have to get back in that routine. But it's kind of hard right now because of school and all.
yeah.
Well, it's the summertime, but but
It's hard
hopefully
to
I
find
can.
it's hard to find
Yeah,
motivation, man. Like I try to tell myself all the time, like, write a joke every day, and like I might write something like 3 days in a row, but then I won't write a joke for a week, you know. And it's like, as much as because I used to tell myself, oh, it's only, you can only really write when you're inspired, and like you have to wait for things to come to you. But also, if you want to be serious about it, I feel like you have to, even if you can't think of anything, you still got to sit down and just write some stuff out, because like even if you get out a bunch of bad
exactly.
bad material, the good stuff will come in times that you don't even realize, you know.
And I got all of it on my phone and all, and I I don't have a chance to sit down, write it out,
Yeah,
but people, but that's a excuse. Find time, sit down,
yeah,
and write it down. But
absolutely, yeah,
but people, you're right, it's motivation. People think this, think that, and it shoots them down, and it's like, okay, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It's
yeah.
hard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like I've been trying to write a few jokes here and there. It hasn't been as going. I've actually been putting more work into like setting up for my podcast, because I've been doing the Zoom ones for like the past couple months since quarantine started. But I actually set up I kind of like redid my like bedroom space. So I have a little couch in here and like my flag, all this. Basically, have it set up as like a little podcast studio. So like once this stuff is over, I should be getting all my equipment in by like July. So I'm thinking around July, August, I'm gonna start having new shows in here. And I mean, dude, you're welcome to come on again if you wanna come sit down and have an in person show, something like that.
Yeah,
What do
I'm
you?
down. I'm I've been trying to find people to go on other podcasts, and
Yeah,
luckily my cousin reached out to you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
so I've been trying to get on podcasts so I can learn the podcast routine, get better with my radio skills. It's
Yeah, man. And you know what?
so
The biggest thing I've learned, because like this is episode 51 of my show. I've been doing it for about a year and 3 months now almost. And when I first started, I mean, like if I look at where I was at episode 1 to episode 50, 51, I look back and I'm like, wow, like I was not doing things nearly to the extent that I'm doing them now. And like I wasn't doing things as well. But also you gotta realize like you can't I know certain people in my life that like they wait so long to like hit something perfect, like they wait so long to like get the perfect launch or do something like perfect. Like you got to accept that like if you're really going to do something consistently, you're going to mess up and like your chances are you're not going to start perfect. So like even this podcast doesn't have a ton of traction, but like maybe around episode 100 it will start to pick up, but like you have to have those trial times to fail because like if for example if you want to make YouTube videos, your first video might be crap compared to your 100th video, but
exactly.
but if you wait and wait and wait and you just say, oh, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna get this right and then this, like you're never gonna get anything done.
And my biggest problem is I talk too much and I don't show people, what I'm made of,
Yeah.
and that's what I was trying to do throughout this quarantine. And you know, eh, I've I've struggled with my weight, and
Okay.
throughout this whole quarantine, I before this quarantine started, I weighed 230,
Okay.
and I'm down to 197 now.
Oh, dude,
So
awesome,
that
congratulations, man.
motivation, thank you, man. I that motivation, um, hit me because I was doing a research paper on Kobe Bryant, and his story, you know,
Yeah.
kind of motivated me to, you know, make a story for myself, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And like when you think of somebody like Kobe, I mean, first of all, rest in peace to, the GOAT.
yeah,
But
but
like
yeah, man.
you think about someone like Kobe and like how just like how he's the exemplar of somebody who wanted to do something since he was a kid and successfully did it because he just worked so hard to the point where like if you're sitting at home and you're feeling like, oh, because like we've all been kind of feeling it I used to work out literally like 5, 6, 7 times a day, and now like I'm barely in the I haven't really been in the gym, obviously because the gyms are closed, like whatever. So I still try to find ways to keep myself fit, but like it's now is a time like they're basically like from March to now they've kind of shut us in our house. And when you're stuck in a house, it's kind of like being in an artificial cave. Like if you don't spend a lot of time outside, it can be easy to get depressed and lose motivation.
Yeah,
But like
it's
to be able to see somebody's story and be like, they worked so hard. What's my excuse for not, going out and taking a walk or going out for a jog or something like that? And it's like, it's cool to see somebody gain inspiration from that and be able to just, because like we're not all superheroes. Gonna, we're not all gonna start these $1 million franchises. We're not all gonna do this, that, blah, blah, blah. But like if you can just do
but
like some days seem so overwhelming where we feel like that we're just falling behind and we're not going to get anything done, but like if you can just do like 3 things a day, like I keep a little notebook on my desk, and like I'll usually before I go to bed I'll write out the tomorrow, like the next day's date, and I'll put down like 3 things. And like if I can get those 3 things done, I might not even get them done, but like if I can get 2 of them done, I'll be happy, and it kind of just helps you stay motivated and inspired without realizing that like we get so caught up in comparing ourselves to other people with like between
Right.
social media and like everything that we see on like throughout technology and all that, that like we forget to like do a couple things for ourselves, you know, and like we can't, maybe we can't get 100 things done a day that we want to, but if you can get 2 or 3 things done and build on that every single day, that's pretty productive. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the issue in this part of the issue. I know that there's a bigger issue in today's world with the George Floyd incident and
Yeah.
the coronavirus, but um, the the people's motivation, it's low because they don't make a schedule. You know,
Yeah.
they just sit back and say, "Hey, I'm just gonna lay back um and see stuff on the internet and say, hey, why can't?" Because you're not doing anything. You know, you're
Yeah.
not making a schedule each day or a routine. You know, a routine. Make a routine to make it easier on you. Say, hey, I'm going to walk outside. And pick up stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever
Just
the
anything. Yeah.
people, yeah, whatever the people want to do. It's totally up to them. But you know, it, motivation is a very strong word. It's
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, I've noticed days where like, cause I'll keep this notebook a lot, but some days I won't. Like, I mean, you know, some days like I'll just be, you know, like, like it depends. Cause like if I'm hanging out with like, say like my girlfriend, or if I'm hanging out with like a specific group of friends or something, like you got to understand that like time with the people that you care about and that you love is just as important as, if not more important than any type of like project you want to do or any type of thing like that. But at the same time you have to be able to space your time well, because like I'll spend a few days hanging out with, say, you know, like friends or like my girlfriend or something, and like I'll have a good time and I'll be happy that like I spent the time to like to, you know, acknowledge them and show them that like, you know, like, because at the end of the day human connection is the 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 biggest thing we got, you know, like we're
Yeah,
social creatures,
it's
like love's the
yep.
most important thing, but like you still have to, like I've also noticed in days like that though, where I'm just like chilling, so to speak, that like if I don't keep a schedule, I'll get like less and less done, and like I might kind of lose motivation, and like it goes day by day for me, because sometimes I feel like I won't do that, and then other days I'll get up and like the night before I already planned myself to do 3 things, and like I get that done. I might get something extra done. Like some days I plan to do a podcast and I end up doing 2 podcasts just because like out of the blue, like it just happens. Or like even this podcast, like I've been talking to you and like a couple other friends or guests that I've been trying to get on, and like sure, I've been taking a little bit of a break between all the media that's going on because of the riots and, you know, the incident with George Floyd, and like I didn't want to muddy up social media with all this like important information being put out at once, and at the same time like I think I honestly was just not feeling as motivated. Like I've been kind of spending time setting up my studio space for like the podcast in the future, but at the same time I definitely could have been doing these in like the past week or two or so.
Right.
Like I wanted to put that little update out just to let people know what was going on, but like I honestly have been kind of demotivated. So like I was happy today where like I was thinking, like I told you yesterday that like I had something going on. I mean, I was hanging out with like my dad or something, and I think I honestly just felt like there's times where like if I'm tired or if I don't feel like I'm at 100%, I don't want to go on and then do something bad, you know? Like I want to try to put out the best content I can. But like today, I knew I was like I can't just like ask somebody to be on my show and then just like because I'm unmotivated keep putting them off and telling them whatever. I was like I have to sit down and, you know, like really just like force myself to do things, and sometimes it's how it is. Like we just have to sit and force ourselves to do stuff, even if it's something we love. We might in the moment we might hate having to do it, but like we have to sit down and force ourselves if we really want that to be our thing, you know?
And that's very key right there. And communication is key. And I think
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
people in this world, have a problem with that because, I don't know what the case is with with those kind of people, but it's very key. It for me. My cousins, including Biagio and all.
Yeah.
We started a wiffball league, you know,
Oh, I remember that.
and
I remember
yeah,
seeing something about that. Yeah.
yeah, and there's a game at 6 o'clock actually tonight, but
Oh, cool.
um, luckily I'm not playing, but well, I want to play, but it I want to add to your the schedule a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, my family members, we are so close that we just, you know, made this league up and say, hey, we're gonna do this, make a schedule, and
Yeah,
I
that's so
think,
cool.
yeah, it's, and I think people have that, motivation, issue. So that's my take on it. They gotta get out of their comfort zone,
Yeah,
a little
absolutely.
bit.
Getting
So
I was gonna say, do you guys ever film those games? Because I think if you guys put that on, there's a market for that. Like if you guys took those wiffle ball games and you put them on YouTube, I bet you a lot of people would, like, even if you just like had one camera behind, like behind the strike box or like behind the batter's box, whatever, and just like kind of filmed the whole game. Like I bet you people would watch those. I like that. That sounds really interesting. You know?
yeah, we actually do the Instagram TV, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah.
That's a good
And
way to go about it. Yeah.
yeah, and we do a 3 game series each game, and we just videotape just one game, and then just that's it, because we don't want to um override the
Yeah.
people, and I want to go back to comedy a little bit. It's comedy is good because people uh the uh, the comedians know when to stop the joke.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
if you keep on going with the joke, it's like, where's the punchline?
Yeah,
Where's the
you
punchline?
gotta quit
It's
while you're ahead at some point.
yeah, and I think, and I was watching this comedian on America's Got Talent, and Simon said what I said just now. It's you got to know when to stop. And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
comedian knew how to stop, because the audience will say, "Hey, I want more. I want to listen to this guy." You
yeah.
know?
And I heard something. I was listening one time to it was an HBO thing. It was like Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Louis C.K., and Ricky Gervais. And Louis brought up how he learned something from Jerry about how, like, if you hear people laugh and like you're getting laughs out of something, stay in the bit. Like when you get a big laugh, like say like you're annoyed about something, or like you're just bringing up something on stage and like you get a big laugh, you have to stay, like if you took that big laugh and then just switched right over to new material, people would be thrown off. But like if you stay in that bit, you can like really squeeze. It's kind of like squeezing like orange juice or something. Like you can really squeeze as much out as many laughs out as you can. And then once they start to die down, it's like you have, like, it comes down to what you were saying, knowing your audience. Like you have to be able to
Yeah.
read your audience to the point where it's like they're into this, but like once things are starting to die down, then you have to know when to stop and be like, all right, that's enough of that, let me move on to something else.
And you should never let the audience stop laughing. If you see
Yeah,
the audience, their tone it going down, start up another joke or stay on that topic
yeah,
and just keep on going. You know, Comedy is just a fast pace, talking. It's just fast pace.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. Because I mean, you can't have,
Yeah,
like, it's the same thing with like it's kind of similar to podcasting or being on the radio. Like you can't have dead air. Dead air means no laughs, no interest, and not like like. And I was having a lot of that. Not so much like having that problem, but early on when I was trying to record the podcast, there were a few that I didn't put out because, like, we would be trying to get into a conversation and it would just kind of go stale. And one thing I've learned, and I think it kind of translates to comedy too, is that you can't force it. Like if you write down a joke and you think it's gonna work, like it's usually because you thought of it and it made you laugh yourself. You know, like you're the first person that your material makes laugh. You know, like when you hear your own material and you know that's good,
Exactly.
it's because you came up with it and laughed at it. But if you write down a joke and you're like, yeah, that could work, but you didn't laugh at it, then like how are you supposed to say it how are you supposed to genuinely say it and make people laugh if you don't even think it's funny, you know?
I really, agree what you're saying there because um, when I was taking the class, I was trying to make my classmates and my teacher laugh, but I was trying too hard. I was
Yeah,
forcing it.
you were trying to be funny.
Trying to be fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's comedy is, hey, if you have the talent, go for it. But you gotta have the talent, to do that.
Yeah. It takes a
You know,
certain person.
right. And you know, and I was thinking to myself when I took a break, and I was like, hey, anyone can be comedians, but I was like, hey, that's wrong because people have stage fright or they're really not that funny,
Yeah.
or it's nothing against them, but it is a job where you need to be funny all the time.
Yeah, and
It's
it's like the things that you say, like some people, like we all know people in our lives where like they're not trying to be funny, but like they might be like, for example, like a lot of comedy is rooted in being annoyed about something. They might be annoyed about something and be talking about it, and it's like they're not trying to say things where they think it's funny because like the trying to be funny is where like you're like you say something and you kind of act like you kind of act like it's a joke, and then you like try to like get people on it, but it's like it's a corny thing, you know. People want to see genuine people
right,
want to hear people genuinely talk, and like when you take somebody like say like everybody has like like a grandpa or like somebody uncle, somebody they know in their life where it's like they'll be annoyed about something and they'll be like this whatever like blah, blah, and like and it's just like it's just they're not trying to be funny, they're not trying to make anybody laugh, but it's just it's funny to hear their take on it. And I think those are the people that really do well as comedians, are the ones who go on stage with a genuine feeling, genuine, whether it's like anger, annoyance, whatever, like just something that they think is crazy, and are act real about it. Because like you said, if you act like you're trying to incite laughter, people aren't. It's usually not going to happen. But if you're just genuine about it, like most times people that go to comedy shows already want to laugh. You know, like especially if there's been a few comedians that have already gone up and you're going up, chances are they're already like if the other comedians did a good job with warming up the crowd, then they're already going to be open to laughing, you know. So like pretty much you could say anything genuine as long as there's like as long as there's like a funny element to it, and you'll get the laughs, you know.
yeah. And that opener is that's an important job because you need to warm up the crowd, and it puts
Yeah,
more pressure on that comedian because he needs to make the crowd, warm up. They know what to expect, and
yeah,
when the person who's going on live, the it, it's it, it's a real feel of it. I'll
yeah.
say. It's
I do have a lot of respect for like MCs and people who open, because like not only are you like you can't just go up there and do straight material. Like you have to be like an energy type of person. And it's funny, like I think when I start doing more comedy, if I get chances to go up and like MC and host, I might do it, because like I worked at this place for like 4 or 5 months recently. It's called a Kid Fit. It's like a kids kind of like gym and like fitness place, and like it's basically like a big like it's basically like a gymnastics type gym, or like just like a kids place, you know, like. And we would have birthday parties there on the weekends, and I was always because I would always try to work weekends because you would get excuse me, you would get tips for working the birthday parties. So I would work those, and I would like host them, you know. And when you host kids, like like it's so hard to keep them even paying attention to you that it forces you to be high energy. And I realized I'm like, if you're gonna be a host for like a comedy show or something like that, like not only do you have to have jokes, but like you have to have high energy. You have to bring up the audience's energy and like show them that like it's okay to be have high energy and laugh and stuff. And like it's like you almost have to do a bit of everything. Like not only do you have to do like material and have some jokes in there, but you have to like make people laugh. You have to have like a certain element. Like when I saw Louis back in March, and his first opener, he had a couple openers like that were just comics, but his first opener was this like DJ type guy who was just like making jokes, but like DJing music, kind of just like to get the crowd, I guess, like just interested, you know, and like get them open and talking. Because like if your crowd feels like quiet and they feel like awkward, especially with like nowadays, because like people are more socially inept and awkward than they've ever been before because of like being stuck inside and like not really having person to person connection. So like having an opener who can really like just like warm up the crowd and get their energy up is, you know, like really important. And you gotta respect those people, because if they do a good job, they set you up for a good set. But on the other hand, if they're a shitty opener and they do a bad job, and the crowd they don't get the crowd into it, you're gonna be like, hey man, what the hell, like, you know?
Yeah, and I've had experience, you know, the amount of time that I had was 10 minutes,
Yeah,
and that's it, because it's um yeah, I didn't have that much experience, and the host is like, oh yeah, you're gonna have 10 minutes, you know,
yeah, yeah,
tonight. So, you know, it just, you know, yeah, just go out there, have fun, and, you know, make people laugh. But it's, you know, basically, you know, that's it. You know,
yeah,
that's
man.
it. That's all I have.
Absolutely, yeah, man. It's definitely it's been great to chat with you. I definitely want to try to get some like if you want to go to open mics in the future and just like work like clubs together, like see if we can get like another person to like carpool with us, because I know another buddy who's trying to do open mics and stuff. That'd be awesome, because like you said, it's kind of weird going into the city and like trying to do shows when you're by yourself, because there's like a lot going on. It's important. It's good to have like a couple people
Yeah,
that, and like I haven't met, I literally have not met anybody from around this area that that is like legitimately into comedy, and I think that's so awesome, dude.
yeah, man. And do me a favor, just like send me your phone number, and then we can, you know,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely, man. I'll
hit
send it
up.
to you
But
through Instagram.
okay, that's because I'm literally down to, you know, do that, because I'm trying to get back into that routine, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So, you know, it's, you know, I stopped because of this whole radio thing, but and getting and going to school, working, you know, and I'm done with that, you know, excuse. You know, if I want to do that, you know, go, I'll do it. You know, it's
yeah, man,
so
absolutely. I mean, I would love to like, I would love to get out there and, you know, do shows with you. And like it's important to have somebody to like not only bounce material off of, but like just going into the city and going into the clubs, like it's good to have like another person with you, you know. But
yeah,
I mean,
it's good. And I've been trying to text my other friend, and he's always busy, you know, and, you know, I don't want to have that held back, you know,
yeah,
and, you
yeah,
know, that's it.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I mean, shit. Like, if we can, if we can figure something out when the clubs start opening back up, like if we can figure out, like if we can look at like different clubs around Philly and like see when their open mic times are, and like see if we can like work out like a schedule, kind of like you said. Like, I'd be fine with doing something like that. And sure, like we don't. It's not like we wouldn't have to hold each other like to death to it. Where like if we had something to do on a day, like, you know, one of us couldn't go, but like it would be cool to have that, so it like just to get more time on stage, you know, because like I mean, you have more experience than I do, but I definitely need experience, and I mean, we both do, you know. So I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's why I chose radio, so I can be funny on the air, you know,
Yeah,
while I
yeah,
do my, you know, other, you know, materials that I have set down for that for
Yeah,
that day. But I want to do stand up. Stand up is a fun thing to do. It's
absolutely, yeah. It's
so
it's it's awesome, man. And yeah, that's kind of why I got into radio too, because like you see a lot of comics start out in radio, and like they'll end up on a radio show, or like they'll do that for a long time just as like a good means of income. And like I saw that and I was like, I kind of just I went to school for writing, so I'm still going to school for writing. So I started out as like I actually started out as an education history major, and then I changed it to writing. And I've been doing that since, and like it's been okay. Like I haven't gotten a ton of creative freedom, but I really like within the major. But I really started to realize around last year that like I've always kind of had hints of like being into comedy. Like I remember when I was 5 or 6, like we used to have like a fireplace that you would step up on, and I remember stepping up on there and like performing for like my parents. And then I like I didn't think about it for a long time, but I've always been into comedians like ever since I was little. And like I think it's more and more just started to like once I found the world of podcasting, I was so hooked into comedy because like I found like for example, I found Tom Segura's first special on Netflix, and then from there I found out about
that's
his.
really funny. Yeah,
Yeah, I found
that's
and I found out about his podcast and got into them, and then got into Joe Rogan Experience and like Joey Diaz, Chris D'Elia, Theo Vaughn, all those guys, and it just really kind of like it just really kind of immersed me, and I think honestly, no matter what happens in my career, I think it'll end up somewhere in comedy and entertainment.
yeah, and I this is where I talk and not show it, but I've always thought about performing on those big stages like
Yeah,
America's Got Talent, and
yeah, yeah.
it's but you got to have a job, you got to work, and eventually you'll have that break where you can go on
Where
those
you can
shows.
can quit that job.
Yeah, or keep that for a
Or
backup,
yeah, true.
so
True, you could
but
always
no,
stick with it.
yeah,
I think
but I love comedians that go on America's Got Talent. I think it's
yeah.
I follow most of them on Instagram. So
I know there's one guy who went on there who did really well years ago who actually he had a speech impediment. I forget what his name is, but I've seen videos of him on Instagram from different clubs, and he's a really funny comic.
Drew Lynch.
Yeah, I think he's the
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah,
He got hit in the throat with a softball, I
softball.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah. I actually wanted
yeah, I
to
like him. It's
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't
no,
want to
no,
cut
go
you off.
ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, if you don't feel comfortable opening up about it, that's fine. But I was wondering, because everybody has different ways of like for example, that guy had an accident happen to him that caused his speech impediment. I think you told me that you've had your speech impediment since birth.
Yeah, so I was born. So I was born with it, and I couldn't talk until I don't know what age,
Yeah, yeah,
but those early years of growing up, I really couldn't talk.
yeah, yeah. I got you.
So
I mean, honestly, man, you've done from this point on, you've done a great job. Like I barely would have noticed when we started talking.
yeah, it's thank you for that, but it's
Yeah,
I went
absolutely.
to I went to um, the NSA, National Stuttering Association, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
basically say, hey, it's okay to stutter, just stutter. Who cares what people think? But
yeah. And
it's
like I don't really show it as much, but I kind of have like I've been kind of developing a what some people have told me. I haven't looked into it to see like if I actually diagnosed or not, but like I've been developing what people have been calling like a little bit of like a Tourette's tick, and it's not a vocal thing, but it's like I'll lift this arm and like put like my head here, and like I can usually manage to like control it, like if I'm on camera or something. But like I think it more comes down to like I have a lot of like a lot of issues with tight muscles in like the middle of my back, and I think that's how I started doing it because I would always move this arm to the point where it becomes like because I've always throughout my life I've kind of dealt with like anxiety and having little like panic attacks and things, and I could tell if I'm starting to get to a moment like that, I start doing that a lot. You know what I mean? But I mean that was just kind of a random tangent, but
Yeah, and if we want to get into um, speech impediment, it's there's different ways of speech impediments. There's
Yeah, yeah,
repetition of words. There's all kinds of stuff. And while you're stuttering, a secondary movement can be involved with it, like moving your
yeah,
feet, tapping your feet. Lots of times, it's
yeah, yeah.
whatever your secondary is.
I've always
And
had, I think I've always kind of a little bit had that thing too where like I'll go to talk to somebody and I'll like repeat the word two or maybe even like three times sometimes when I'm saying something. You know, like it was never like a really consistent thing for me, but I've definitely had spurts of it where like I start talking and I keep like saying the same thing over and over like two or three times maybe.
yeah, it's and I've tried to practice where I don't repeat things,
Yeah, yeah.
and um, it's basically having confidence. It's
Absolutely, yeah. And like you said,
it,
man,
yeah.
and I think some honestly, like some a lot of people may be like ignorant to this because obviously you want to try to like do the best like you can at like like practicing and like improving it and stuff, but at the same time, man, like that's one of the things that makes you you, you know what I mean? Like that's one of the things that makes you genuine and unique, and it kind of goes back to how we were talking about the best comedians are the ones who are true to themselves and like are like confident in themselves, because like you can tell when somebody goes up there and they're kind of doing an act, or they're trying to act like somebody they're not, and it never really pans out well. But like you said, like just to be confident in who you are and be genuine about yourself, like is I mean the most important thing you can do, man. Like I commend you for that.
Thank you. And you know it's basically this. Yeah, I have had those moments where I think and say, hey, what if I didn't have a speech impediment? What
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I had this? And I'm like, no, if I didn't have a speech impediment, I wouldn't know who Jake Mauriello was,
Yeah, you wouldn't know who you
as a
were.
person. I didn't, that speech impediment defines who I am as a person. So
Absolutely, man. And it kind of goes like it kind of goes back to like any quality of any of us because like I think we all have something where we wish we could like there's a certain time where like maybe not even that we wish we could change it, but other people make us feel like we should change it. And like when you can really just sit and be like, no, you know what? At the end of the day, there might be things that like maybe I've not always like loved about myself or other people have told me that I need to change, but like if I didn't have these qualities, I wouldn't be the person I am, and it wouldn't make me myself or them themselves or whoever, and like it's I think that's like one of the most important things in just like in finding peace in life is because we're always going to have insecurities, we're always going to have things that we feel like, oh, what if I wasn't this way, or what if things were different, but like if if things were different, you wouldn't be you, like you wouldn't be yourself. And I think that's a really important thing is like once you can accept like yourself and all the things that you are and really just like love yourself for who you are, that's when the world really be like starts to open up because like you're not thinking about what if thing like the what if of things that I could or could not do or could or could not be, and you're thinking about like the things you can be,
right, and and I think people have issues with that too. It's they're
Yeah,
accepting what they have, and
absolutely.
it's and if you think this and that, it's not going to change who you are. No, I if there's a spell, that wishes my speech pen away, I wouldn't take that spell. I wouldn't or wish. It's I enjoy having this speech impediment. Does it annoy me sometimes? Yeah, it does, but it's the way it is.
Yeah, those are the things that you accept when you accept who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, that's really awesome, man. Like you like, and like to be able to take that and bring it on stage with you is like even cooler. And like just to like even when I was going back and watching your clips, like that first joke is about like where you're like I have about 3 minutes of jokes, but it takes me about 30 minutes to get them out. Like that was like, and it got a big laugh, and I was like that is genuine comedy right there. You know, like that's that like I mean I didn't even know you. This is for anybody who doesn't know. We literally met on this Zoom call. Like this is the first time we've talked to each other. But like when I watched that, I was like, that's genuine comedy. Like you could tell this person is being themselves. They're secure in themselves, and I thought that was really awesome, dude.
Yeah, and if you want to check me out on YouTube, I think the first when I was into comedy, and you know, I'm still into comedy now, but it's
Yeah.
you know, I want to start that up, but I'm on YouTube. It's my name or my last name and just comedy or something, you know.
Okay, so it's Mauriello comedy.
Yeah, I have to check
If you
what it
want,
is because
send me a link, and then I'll take that link and I'll put it down here below. But I was gonna say, I think now might be like a good time to wrap. I want to thank you so much for coming on, and I just wanted to say
thank
because,
you.
yeah, of course. And dude, you're always welcome back on. Like once I start doing the live in person shows, you know, you're welcome to come over do a show here. And like also once comedy, I'll definitely keep in touch with you because once comedy comes back, like I want to try to get out as much as I can. And I mean, if you're trying to go on stage too, it would be cool to have like a comedy buddy, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely down, and uh, again, thank you for having me on, and I want to definitely come back on.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
so
man. It's awesome. Awesome to hear. We love having you here at Eggcast with John Egger. I just wanted to say real quick, um, if you have anything like other than your YouTube that you want to plug, like Instagram, any type of social media, anything that you want to promote, now would be the time to do so.
yeah, my Instagram, Mauriello dot Jacob.
Hmm.
My last name is Mauriello. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah. Dot Jacob. Cool. And then what's the Instagram account that you guys do the wiffle ball stuff on?
so it's CWA Association, which is Semino Wiffball Association.
Okay.
So
Cool.
it's you know CIMINIO Wiffball Association. So
Okay, cool. So on Instagram, is the handle itself, is it CWA or is it like the whole name?
let me check right now for you. Um,
Yeah, no problem. While you're doing that, I'm just gonna say for everybody who's still here with us, first of all, thank you so much. Second of all, make sure that you know you like and subscribe on all the platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube, click that like button, click the subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, look down below and you will find all the different platforms we are on: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. But yeah, if you're on any of the other, if you're listening through audio on like any of the other platforms, make sure that you subscribe for new episodes. Hit the little notification bell every time a new episode comes out. It'll come right to your phone like that. You don't have to go on. You don't have to look on Instagram, anything like that. It just comes right up, and you can always get the new shows. Also, if you go on my Instagram at John __ Egger, you can follow there. You can follow the podcast has a specific Instagram Eggcast with John Egger, all one word. You can follow there, and if you click on my link, if you click on my link there, you can find all the shows. But also, I put a button in to lead to a website that has various petitions and found and like fundraisers that you can donate to support the Black Lives Matter movement and support getting justice for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless other victims that have fallen to racial injustice. So like if you can't think of ways to help out, if you click on my link in there, you'll find different things. Like where you can help out there. And I understand, man, times are tough. Not everybody has a dollar to donate. But even if you just you know, sign a petition to help you know, help somebody out, or like if you share it and maybe somebody else will donate, you know, because I mean these, at the end of the day, you know, like I don't want to. I know how polarizing these different topics can be, but at the end of the day, man, we're all humans, and like if you're like seeing somebody seeing somebody just get hurt like that because of the way they look, and just like seeing somebody like take seeing somebody like uh take you know, hatred in the form of like physical pain or being killed, like I mean we got to come together, you know. It's a shame because like for progress to happen there will always be bloodshed, like this, for example, the Civil War. Like people always talk about peaceful protests, but the Civil War was a war, man, you know. Like people were getting killed out there, but like my point is that for like for things to happen, for things to get better, we have to come together as humans. And you know, like, if you go through my link, you can find ways to help. You know, sign petitions to bring justice for people who have been murdered. Sign, you know, like either like sign those, or you can donate to various fundraisers that you know are either for like the families of the victims, or like for associations and like and organizations that are working towards, you know, bringing justice to this country and, you know, hopefully this world. And I mean, I know, you know, it's tough out there, man. It's an inherently cruel world, but you know, if we can just help each other out, and you know, if you can just, you know, just help anybody in the smallest way you can, anything is appreciated, you know. So you can go on there and you know, sign things, donate there. um Again, just make sure you like and subscribe to all the platforms. And yeah, Jake, if you had that that Instagram, if you want to promote that.
Yeah, so you could look it up either way. It's CWA, or you could do the full name, which is CIMINIO. And
Okay,
then,
cool. So if you go
so,
to, so it's CWA Association.
correct. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, if you guys are interested in wiffle ball, or you just want something to watch in your pastime, like if you want to check that out, you go on CWA Association on Instagram, and they have different Instagram TV videos of their wiffle ball league. You can check that out. Make sure you follow Jake at Mauriello, MAURIELLO, right? Dot Jacob.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. On Instagram, yeah, I saw you had some comedy videos on there if you guys want to check those out. And yeah, just, you know, this is a tough time we're going through in our country, in our world, you know. People have been locked down. It's starting to kind of end, but like we don't exactly know like where our safety lies, but at the end of the day, I mean, we can't we all try to do things on these big macro scales, and we all try to help. We all think that we have to be making like a huge change in the country to help. But like if you can help, if you can just live where you are and to live in the present and help like a few people throughout your day, I mean, that's it, man. Like maybe if you donate like a couple bucks to like a foundation that's helping people out, or you sign a petition or something. I understand like we're not all made of money where we can just give away everything we have to help people. But if you can just, you know, make an impact, just call, like, you know, call your family, call your friends, tell people you love them. Like just stay human, you know, because like people get so, especially with all the conflict and like controversy that uh you know, things like this cause in our nation, you know, like people, for example, like I've had family members like recently that, like, you know, I normally wouldn't even challenge about like the way they felt, but I'm seeing human life get put below other things, and I'm thinking, man, like, come on, like we're humans, you know, like just have those conversations with people. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I don't care how you feel about any race. We are all we are all humans, man. And like, if you're trying to preserve life and you're trying to preserve this species and trying to help us out, then you got to help out everyone. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, just, I mean, I guess my point is, I know I'm rambling here, but my point is, you know, just love each other. Try to the most you can do is take care of yourself first and foremost, and do the best you can do for yourself, and then from there move on to one person at a time. If you want to help, you want to make a difference, it happens one person at a time. It can't all happen at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really agree with that. You know, it, don't. don't help if you have an issue with yourself. You know, it's
Yeah,
not going to help others. You know, it's not. You know, it's. But if you are, you know, if you're okay, just help out. It's not going to hurt anything. So
absolutely. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself first and foremost, but from there, one person at a time, and that's how, help somebody out. And even if you don't know if they would help you, because chances are, if you help them, they will help you, and that's how we stay peaceful as humans, and that's how we go on. So, yeah, I just want to say thanks everybody for listening so much. Jacob, thank you again for coming on. You've been a great guest, man,
yeah,
and
thank
you're
you,
always welcome
thank
to
you.
come back on anytime. So, yeah, the last thing I'm gonna say, I know I sound like a broken record, but just make sure like and subscribe on all the platforms. Keep updated with the Instagram, the Facebook page, Edcast with John Egger, all that. Just stay updated with the show. Try to subscribe and like hit the little notification bells on whatever platform you're on, so you'll see new episodes every time they show up. And yeah, peace and love, and thank you guys for listening to us. Let me just get this ready. Yeah, thank you guys for listening to us. Peace and love, and adios.